afternoon and welcome. Many thanks for joining us in this edition of our 3 p.m. Top News. It's Friday the 5th day of April 2019. We are broadcasting live from a studio here at number 2 Gary Street in Freetown. You are watching and listening to FTN's Top News on channel 35 and on Freetown Radio 90.4 FM with me, Moses J. Lavalley Jr. In this edition of FTN's Top News, we've got stories making news in and around the country all lined up. We begin with our first story. In complementing a 1 year in governance of His Excellency retired Brigadier Julius Maada, special prayers were offered by Christians and Muslims to grace the occasion. FTN's outside broadcast unit was there. Here is it.
O God, our Heavenly Father, inspired by the psalmist who says, "It is good to give thanks to the Lord, to sing praises to your name, O Most High, to declare your steadfast love in the morning and your faithfulness by night." We are gathered here today on the first anniversary of the election of His Excellency the President, retired Brigadier Julius Maada, and of his government, to thank you for having protected, guided, and directed the President and his immediate collaborators, the Cabinet Ministers, in the exercise of their duties. Thank you, Lord, for the President and his plans and programs for the development of this nation and its people. We beg you, Heavenly Father, that you continue to guide him as he endeavors to implement his vision for the development of this nation and the welfare of its people. He again has dedicated himself towards fighting corruption and mischief. So help him, Allah, for you are the first to fight corruption in your Quran when you say, وَلَا تُفْسِدُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ بَعْدَ إِصْلَاحِهَا, and do not mischief on the earth after it has been set in order. He, your servant, is very much determined to bring forth for this mission everything that is good and drive away every evil. So let us all gather here today, join him to say, Rabbana. Let us all say, Rabbana آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار.
First of all, I urge that supplications, prayers, intercessions, and thanksgiving be made for all people, for kings and all who are in high positions, that we may live a peaceful and quiet life, godly and dignified in every way. This is good, and it is pleasing in the sight of God, our Savior, who desires all people to be saved and to come to the knowledge of truth. For there is one God, and there is one mediator between God and men, the man Jesus Christ, who gave himself as a ransom for all, which is the testimony given at the proper time, the word of the Lord.
Still on the reflection on President Bio's 1 year in office, Honorable Indolo Givao ESQ, Member of Parliament, has evaluated President Julius Maada with regards to the free and quality education project. He speaks more in this interview with FTN's Lukule Moses. Let's hear from him.
We begin with first the general assessment of President Bio 1 year in office. What says you?
We actually give him a distinction I think he's done extremely well. He's done in 1 year better than what any president has done for this country in 5 years. I'll substantiate later what I mean by that. But if I were actually to be his examiner, if I were to mark his script, honestly, his handiwork, he will pass as a distinction student.
My government has declared democratic war on poverty, indiscipline, and corruption. However, we're seeing indiscipline, violence, and also as the order of the day. What can you say towards indiscipline in Sarami?
You cannot talk about the fight against corruption without talking about indiscipline.
All right.
You'll agree with me that what the president is actually fighting against right now is what we call fiscal indiscipline or financial indiscipline. People that were in high offices, people that were given positions of trust, people that were in fiduciary positions, because they were not disciplined, because they were indisciplined, you know, because they thought, I mean, it was breakfast, free breakfast, decided to take things that do not belong to them for their personal use, for the use of the children. So now, delivering on his promise of fighting in discipline, you see how much he has injected vigor into the fight against corruption and curbing fiscal indiscipline. When we come to the physical indiscipline, lawlessness, breakdown of law and order, you agree with me that during the APC days, there were months in this country when at 4 o'clock, people in the central part of Freetown will definitely have to go to bed, simply because clique boys would have taken over. All over Freetown, while we had this people, somebody stabbed somebody today at Mountain Court, in another hour, another person stabbed another person in Lumley. But ever since President Bio took over and placed in the necessary legal mechanisms and machinery, those rampant stabbings, violence, breakdown of law and order, immorality has actually reduced from 100%, I can say, to a minimum of 5%. Now,
that was Indolo Givao, parliamentarian ASQ, speaking there in that interview with FTN's Lukule Moses. Away from President Bio's 1 year in office, Executive Director of the Native Consortium and Research Center, Edmond Abujinio, has issued out a press statement and position paper in defending the Leon from further depreciation. In this regard, he advised that the President, the Bank Governor, and the Finance Minister should take urgent measures that will defend the Leons. Let's listen from him.
Based on the fact that the way the Leons is depreciating at a neck-breaking speed is very worrisome. It's a cause for concern to all of us. Mark you, the exchange rate is one of the main economic epicenter. It has a corresponding effect on commodity prices, inflation. So if you allow your local currency to depreciate, it affects inflation, prices hike in the market. So for us as a think tank, Native Consortium Research Center, we've deemed it fit to issue out this position paper to roll out recommendations, what we call antidotes. Yeah. Firstly, part of what we found out before going to the recommendation, we've discovered that in fact the black marketers are very much powerful. They control the rate. They are the major drivers. I mean, they manipulate the market. So, firstly, we've discovered that is one of the problems, and secondly, weak monetary policy. Thirdly, we also discovered that the weekly auction is no longer sustainable. In fact, it does not cushion the rise or the depreciation of the Leons. So that is the first thing first. Yeah. Now, coming to the recommendation, sir, we've already profile what we call antidote recommendations. The 9.15 recommendation for the central bank to take note of, 9 of which are near-term or short-term measures between now to the 10th month or to the 11th month. Short-term, what the bank needs to do. Yeah. Firstly, part of our antidote, part of the recommendation, part of the position paper, we recommend that the central bank should formulate a new flexible monetary regime. That's the first thing. a combination of different instruments to stop, to check this high depreciation of the leos. That's the first thing. Second recommendation is flexible interest rates, just to summarize, within the banks, flexible interest rate. Third recommendation is what they call moral suasion. Moral suasion is a kind of a monetary policy that is being used as a way to control depreciation of a currency. It can be, it's an implicit threat. It's not an outright coercion, if you like. Moral suasion, this is when you engage. For instance, I can give you one instance. In 2016, we met with the central bank again when the leos was falling rapidly. We met and then we advised the government to tell people to stop doing business in dollars. And we saw where the president then issued out a text message to Sierra Leoneans, everybody, that you should start to use dollar, because this is not New York, this is not Washington. I mean, this is a country where I see people want to rent houses, they charge in dollars. People want to buy a car, people want to sell some anything, they charge in dollars. So we want the government, we need the political will to pass a law that anybody found wanting to sell or that charge any item in dollar, should be arrested.
Speaking there was Edmond Abu Jr., the Executive Director for the Native Consortium and Research Center. You're still watching FTN's 3 p.m. top news on channel 35 and on the radio Freetown FM 90.4 FM with me, Muzicella Jr. Sierra Leone Legal Aid Board has on Thursday, 4th April facilitated a dialogue with traditional tribal heads, religious leaders, among others, as part of their effort in scaling up access to justice, peaceful and inclusive society. This forum took place at the Atlantic World Checker Stadium Stadium's hostel in Freetown. FTN's Moses Lukle was there, and our report.
The Sierra Leone Legal Aid Board, which was enacted by an Act of Parliament in 2012, is to provide accessible, credible, sustainable legal aid service to everyone on all related matters to legal and justice matters in Sierra Leone. In an overview of the functionality of the board, Fatmata Clara Carlton Hansels is the Executive Director of Legal Aid Board. She advised both men and women to abstain from issues regarding lawlessness, which she added that elections are over, it's now time to maintain peace in the country.
We don't go through civil war. We know how much to suffer. We don't get what's like. We don't get Ebola. God don't make we were there, we still there alive. So no problem, no for day. Wait for scatter we. Nothing no for day. Wait for scatter the country. Politician they can, politician they go. We went inside the community now, we they left. We are the most important people because now we are voters, not so. But when the politics don't count, they allow us for divide we. We not for allow that. We for always not say we relationships there. They're very important. Una when a neighbor. Una when a husband and wife. You were in fact so tell you now you and the man will attack together. You when a family inside yard. You when you there inside there, you a good church member, you a good works person, you a good community person. When this election don't come, we find out say what allow for divide we. Who agree?
Lawyer Francis Gabidon is the legal consultant of Sierra Leone Legal Aid Board. He elaborated on this assessment of justice in the country.
But when I said, tell me, I said, why this country for good? Who that don't win, you don't win. But you will win, you get for embrace. You shall get for all you are with us. You know for seeing panel, not for big panel. You will lost, you say for accepting your loss. And take 7 times to come back. But this country will not affect again. Nobody not go bring fresh kind of this country again. Not to outside the government. Not to outside the day. No problem now. Every time, Nigerian which man now, 2 weeks ago, American embassy put out the list. Let people that were careful. That thing that they put, you don't know. When they go out, people know they can't go invest. People know they can't storage. They don't do that to one time. When the English people like that put, they go look how much stories they can, how much visitors. Are you ready for your person to the camp?
Admonishing the audience to put aside politics and work for national cohesion, Honorable Mohammed Fode Yonkela is the Minister of Political Affairs.
Yesterday, me and my brother, we phoned myself who they talk. We're not fed. So why una for go begin the fed for say me the SLPP, you the NGC? Me and my brother, not the perfect. Why you will say they bien me, SLPP, you say they bien me. Why you the go fed for her? Women election term or anything where you say me day under the other one day under. It must bring some kind jamot.
How will justice be accessible to everyone in Sierra Leone? I am Lukule Moses reporting for FTN Top News.
The Ministry of Tourism and Culture, under the purview of the Minister, Mrs. Memunatu Pratt, has received a delegation of journalists from the United Kingdom to assess the tourism sector in Sierra Leone and strive to rebrand the sector for international recognition. FTN's Claudia Terry Robert was in attendance on our report.
The Ministry of Tourism and Cultural Affairs, under the purview of the Minister, Madam Memunatu Pratt, have organized this cocktail to invite journalists from the United Kingdom so as to brand Sierra Leone into the tourism sector of the world. And today we are here to witness this particular invitation and other journalists from the world coming together to rebrand the tourism section in Sierra Leone. Let's hear from the Honorable Minister, Madam Memunatu Pratt.
Government, my colleague, the Minister of Information and Communication. Of course, I am trying to get him on board the promotion trail of tourism. So thank you very much. And of course, our Minister of Gender and our guest. It's very difficult to express my excitement for you to have made it to Sierra Leone. This has been a long journey. A long journey because Sierra Leone has wasted years for Sierra Leone to develop and come up the international and global agenda on tourism. We've wasted too much time. So we have limited time to catch up. And I also want to express our sincere thanks to the President. Because you see, for you to be able to make a change, you need a leader that has the vision, that has the passion, that has the right direction. He has come out to say, as far as my presidency is concerned, tourism is going to be one of my turnaround for the economic diversification of Sierra Leone. And that was a very, very strong commitment and a statement. And I believe when the president makes that kind of commitment, if you are the minister, you work as a tour operator, you work in the private sector, the private business of tourism, it means that challenge has transcended to different levels. So we have to make sure we keep the pace.
Was the Honorable Minister of Tourism, Madam Memunatu Pratt, delivering that beautiful and wonderful speech there about how the invitation of United Kingdom journalists to visit Sierra Leone and obtain first-hand information about how our tourism section is doing in Sierra Leone. Now let's listen to the leader, the head, the lead of the UK journalist in Sierra Leone, what he has to say.
Know what Sierra Leone was about. And my mouth and my eyes got bigger and bigger. My jaw dropped and my excitement level increased. I could not believe what I was hearing about Destination Sierra Leone. And as of the tail end of last year, I feel honoured and privileged to have been asked to market your destination in the UK. I still am open-mouthed and still wide-eyed, and I cannot wait for the next 8-9 days when I'm going to see the best of your country. And everyone that I've spoken to, both in the trade and in the media in the UK, is very excited either to be here with the folks who come out with me on this trip, or at the minute that we get back. Get ready for it, because tourism is about to happen in Sierra Leone.
Well, as you've heard from the Minister of Tourism and Cultural Affairs, and also the leader of the team from the United Kingdom, this is how it all went at the Radisson Blu Hotel in Freetown. I'm Claude Atero Roberts for Freetown Television Network.
Well, listeners and viewers, that's all we have for you in this edition of our 3 p.m. Top News. And as always, we would like to receive your comments or feedbacks on any of our news stories or suggestions on any of our programs. Send them to our Facebook page at FTN News or by email to freetowntv@gmail.com. Or you can also follow us on our Twitter page or by text message on +232 78 906 904. Watch FTN TV live on Limely from anywhere in the world. You can also download Limely from Google Play or App Store and keep yourself abreast with unfolding international and national news stories. Many thanks for watching. Do continue to stay with us, as there are more interesting programs awaiting you. I have been your presenter, Moses J. Lavelle Jr. Have a nice day. Bye for now.
This is